I don't remember hitting her. I only remember stepping between her and my nephew. I don't think I initiated the attack. I only remember trying to protect him. She'd said, "Ooh, you're so cute. I'm going to make you my boyfriend." Over my dead body. I vaguely remember she reached in to kiss him, and then I hit her. I'll admit my knocking her down was probably a shock, but she triggered a response in me that made my blood hot. And it's not like I went in with plans to clean her clock or that I was searching for a reason to knock her block off. Believe me, that hit gave me no satisfaction. It's just her words sparked this deep, angered passion to keep our boys out of harm's way. My reaction wasn't just misplaced rage, but grown from a past crime. And for a fraction of a second in that moment of time, I wished that if she could just think, think about what she said, it would sink and get emblazoned in her head that she's doing to him what we don't let grown men do to our girls. She treated him as the object of her desire, and in this cold world, we don't need any more children sexually objectified. Don't speak to him as if he's your man. That boy is just 5. Your intentions might be harmless. You were ignorant prior to this conversation. Don't let it slip. I've got my eye on you. I do know what caused this outburst of anger. See, I used to think like you. I used to think it was harmless fun and good for the ego to tell our little boys that they'd be our boyfriends. I never did it because I thought it was weird, but I didn't give it much thought until I noticed that if a grown man was to approach a little girl and call her sexy, or pick her up to kiss her and call her his girlfriend, we'd be ready to have him beaten and thrown into prison. But somehow, the age factor no longer counts when it's a grown woman flirting with a boy. No caution is taken. We don't value his virtue. Now we've given permission for her to harass, demean, touch, and openly violate him. We give them over to she-wolves to be led to their den and say, "Go with our blessings. Let sexual perversion begin." What I really wanted to do was go back in time to the moment I sat with my friend as he confided in me that he'd been raped. I wanted to go back and say, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm sorry no one was there to protect you. I'm sorry you've had to carry this hurt for so many years. I'm sorry that justice hasn't yet stood up for you. But mostly, I'm sorry that I first questioned the account before I stood by your side. Because in my mind, I couldn't see how this strong black man sitting beside me could ever have been in the position I've been in. I questioned him. Instead of keeping my mouth shut and allowing him to be vulnerable, I asked him to explain. What do you mean you were raped? Although I didn't speak all the questions in my mind, I wanted to know, was he tied up? Was she too heavy to get from underneath her? Did she play with him and mount him and he eventually got into it? How could he have an erection if he didn't want sex? My questions were innocent to me because I didn't know much about the human body, and I was ignorant of the number of guys who were harmed. The narrative I'd heard from other men didn't match his accusation, and I couldn't reconcile them. I'd only known men to be aggressors and rapists. Thankfully, sense kicked in to tell me it wasn't my place to not only ask him to relive his pain, but also to convince me that a crime actually occurred. I was the one whose vision was blurred. It was only after his death that I realized that my questioning look had re-victimized him the moment he needed a non-judgmental ear. And now that he's gone, I can't hold him near to say, "I believe you." However, what I can do is speak on his behalf, or let his message speak through me, and hopefully spread awareness to the community that we can't permit female predators impunity. The desensitization has to stop, and it starts with me. And since he passed before the message was said, I will be his voice. They say a person's first time should be special, but you made my first experience hell. They say Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, but Sodom tried to kill me, and I couldn't avoid your grip. You were grown. I was a boy. I was 6, but you used me as your toy, and I need to know, what kind of mentally deranged witch fantasizes about and gets off on a first-grade prick? My mom trusted you. She left me in your care, but you passed me off the nick. I guess you had to share with your husband, right? You didn't care that I couldn't walk, or that my anus was ripped as long as I didn't talk about what happened in your bedroom. Shh. It was our secret. And under threat of punishment, I promised to keep it. And keep it I did over the next 20 years, not verbalizing my nightmares and the source of my fears. Doctors couldn't explain my bedwetting regression. I was involuntarily admitted when my depression hit its peak and demanded I kill myself. My mom interrupted my attempt and untied the belt I'd used to take me from a world that celebrates you. But I know the creature you truly are. And I know that one day you're going to pay for what you did. And in that moment, when you cry out for mercy, much the same way I screamed each time I was hurting, you're going to remember me. And in that moment, there will be justice. I just wish that my trauma could be buried there. But fate will have me touch another level of despair. And even though my assailant's name was buried with me, I have to believe that someone can learn from my tragedy. She was my assigned tutor. Everyone thought she was gorgeous. I was one of the few who learned she was a whore just waiting to trap a freshman. More accurately, she was a siren, seducing me with ideas I shouldn't have had that she put in my mind when I visited. We could be together. I'm smart, and made her feel like a woman. She did things to me I wasn't sure I wanted to happen, but then I'd come and every movie said it was cool. I should want a Mrs. Jones to make me question the incident and have a woman jump my bones. She wanted to deflower a virgin and didn't give a damn if I loved her or liked her as long as I was stiff. I really don't get off on someone my mom's age, groping and pawing me like I'm her pet in a cage. Barely developed and insecure in the midst of puberty, she feasted on and took joy in taking more innocence from me. I questioned myself because my body betrayed me. Had I always deep down wanted this older lady? Who could I turn to? Who would believe a woman that's grown would throw herself on me? After all, I'm just a walking hormone, right? That's how teen boys are seen, hot in the pants, devoid of affection, intelligence, never desiring romance or true love. But it affected my ability to connect with women, thinking they only wanted my money, my status, or my semen. And had the tables been turned, no one would encourage a date with a female victim and a male predator of statutory rape. And it took years of support and addressing my memory vault to accept and acknowledge that what happened was not my fault. To the other men who were forced to lose their virginity, it's not a rite of passage to have sex with a woman who's 43. At 14, you have no clear understanding or direction. We were told we should enjoy it because our bodies had erections. Our choices were stolen. You have nightmares, and I feel you. So let's call it what it is. We were raped. It's pedophilia.